So conference is a continuation of our studies on mind lift. And I wasn't here last week, but Maria was going over with everyone that we've moved into this section. It's going to kind of be a little bit of revisiting some things, but about the importance when we want to change a habit or create something new in our lives, that we have to, as Guruji would say, practice, practice, practice. Practice and all is coming. 99% practice, 1% theory. And as Ashtangis, we know that. That's what this is. It's like in our core, we know all about that. But I want to go a little deeper with this idea of practice, just to kind of bring this home for us. And so the quote at the end of the class is, I want to start off with this quote as well. And it's, of course, from our chapter with Casper. And actually, let me read the sentence right before the quote. So I don't have my glasses, you guys have to bear with me. What if there aren't any circumstances that can deny or affirm your self-worth? So I want you guys to hold that thought. And then he said, start focusing on the activity of learning. Start focusing on the activity of learning, on doing the doing in full enjoyment of the doing, which is very Casper, right? So this week is just about the doing. And part of the doing that's important is that there should be joy in the doing, you know. And so I was, as fate would have it, I was doing conference, I was getting ready for it and looking through my big chest of quotes in these old pictures. And I came across a picture of one of Pattabhi Jois's last world tours when he was in Encinitas. And Joy was in the picture. I'm trying to see if anyone else in this room was in the picture. And I was trying to think of how long ago that was. Joy, can you guess? 10 years, at least 10 years ago that this picture was taken. And I'm going to bring it in next week. I just have to remember. I forget all the time. But you guys will recognize most of the characters in the picture from our Shala. And it's kind of fun to see, like 10 years later, that all of these people are still practicing. And as I looked at everyone in the picture, though, of course we look a little different now, but I could say, and Joy doesn't mind me using her always as an example, that since then Joy's had 2 hips replaced. Not even hip surgery, but 2 hips replaced. Someone else has had major back surgery. And other people, like I know, different things that's happened in their life where there was loss and there were babies and there were weddings. All of those things happened in those 10 years, but these people keep returning to these mats. Right? Keep coming back for this yoga practice. And even when things like knowing everyone's journey and path, and which is something I say to you guys all the time, there will be challenges. You know, there'll be poses you can't do, poses that are hard. There'll be poses that you can do and you love, and then one day you're injured and you can't do it and you feel like, oh, I'm going backwards. You know, but I always try to stress to everyone that Ashtanga is a training ground for life. And when we're on here training, we realize that life is not linear. We think it is. We think Ashtanga, there's first series or second series. I get this pose and I get that pose. We start to think this is a progression, this is how it works. But really, it's a dance. On the best day, it's a dance where we might feel like we move a little bit forward, but then you move back. You know, and then you move a little bit forward and oh, I'm moving back again. So we can't even refer to it as that anymore because that's too linear for us. It's just this beautiful dance that we do with life. And here on our mats is this place where we can kind of see it, you know, see life happening. Be the looking bird and look down at the body, look at the mind, look at the cycles, the rituals, the cycles of our life. Right here, it's fun. I love seeing this picture because it was a whole decade, if you will, right, of people practicing and life's just sort of reflected in a practice called Ashtanga, right, on the mat. So one of the things that this brought me back to is a teaching we did a couple weeks ago, which I cannot talk about enough because it's so beautiful and important, and that's the why. You know how we talked about the pyramid of the why, how, and the what? You know, and the why, I'm just going to use Ashtanga as an example. The why should be the biggest part of that triangle or that equation. The why is, why do you show up and do Ashtanga year after year, injuries, things going on in life. Why are you here? And then after that is the how you show up And the what is kind of the Ashtanga, and we kind of break it down into everything. But, you know, I was using the example of myself just to give all of you an idea of what I want you to be thinking about for yourself. Is, for me, I show up and teach this practice for the same reasons I taught psychology for a number of years, which is I want to help people be the healthiest, happiest, most vibrant, best version of themselves. For years when I was in psychology, it was primarily cognitive, you know, looking at the person. And when I stepped into teaching yoga, it was the same thing, but I just incorporated this body element to it. But as Ashtanga, you know that that's one tiny bit, right? So really for all of you as your teacher, I so want all of you to be as healthy and as vibrant as you can possibly be and to continue to grow. This is your school. So in that same chest that I was rifling through with all the 25 years of quotes or whatever in it, everybody wants to see this chest. It's a mess. It's a beautiful mess. I've thought of organizing it, but I like it messy. Tamara's thought of organizing it with me. So in that chest was this old article from a newspaper article that was written not 10 years ago, but I think over 20 years ago, about me. And it was about this program that I was running in graduate school. It was an after-school program in an inner city in Connecticut. That's where I went. I was in graduate school on the East Coast. And so I forget the title of it, was like homeroom program, something inspires by Diana Krista, whatever. And then the whole article has like, I love how it's like I felt like a football player. Everyone was like, Christensen said this, Christensen did that. But in there were these quotes from me that I hadn't read for years, and like revisiting my passion for these kids. And I remember it was supposed to just be an after-school program, teach them computer skills and help them not get in trouble and all these kind of things. And I wind up getting their mothers involved and trying to empower their mothers and all these other fun things we wound up, as you know with me, of these harebrained ideas. But when I was reading the article, I realized something, that I could have switched out the title to say Pacific Ashtanga, because everything I was doing there is what I'm doing here, right? It's the same mission. It's the same thing. Like these kids, I wanted to help them be the best version of themselves, give them all the tools that they needed to go out there despite challenges and do the best they could. And that's the Shala. That's what we're doing here. So I can tell you, I even get choked up when I talk about it. My why is strong. It's simple, so simple, but my why, I show up here every day, is very strong. And when things get hard for me here, when I'm like, what the heck am I doing? Right? As it's just life. Any business, yoga business, no different than any other business. Any other career, it has its challenges. But my why is so strong that I come back. I rethink it. It's like the compass. I relocate myself, right? So that's me. But all of you are thinking something right now that's you. Something in your life, maybe it's your job or career. Maybe it's something else you're very passionate about. Maybe it's a relationship. Maybe it's an aspect of your relationship. But something in your life that you've chosen that's important to you to show up for. My question to you today again is why? If you can answer that question for yourself, and you like the answer, it's strong for you, that is what's going to help you practice, practice, practice. Practice and all is coming. That is what will keep you, whatever this is for you. It's a relationship. It's going to keep you strong and passionate in that relationship. If it's a job, like for me, something in life that you have to show up for. And it's also going to help you to always show up in the way that you want to show up, you know. I could be running the yoga shala and be like, oh, I got to teach today. It's a long one. Right? Do anyone show up in your life like that? If you do, think about it. If you're showing up in your life for something where like, okay, 1 day, 2 days, 1 week showing up like that, 2 weeks, Guruji would say, some problem, right? And then we come back to the why. Why do it? Why show up for that, you know? So the quote by Casper: start focusing on the activity of learning, on doing the doing in full enjoyment of the doing. So today we're going to do some Ashtanga. Hopefully you guys are going to enjoy it, right? The second one is by Albert Einstein. Anyone who has never made a mistake has never tried anything new. So I talked a little bit more about this on Sunday, but whenever, you know, I've seen this so many times on the yoga mat. People have a new pose or they're trying to do something and they're not good at it. It frustrates them. They feel like they should be or they want to be or whatever. It's like, no, man, enjoy the learning. That's, if you guys are not good at something, you know my response? Yippee! Right? Because you get to grow, you get to challenge yourself, you get to try at something, you get to be humble, you get to work stuff out. And again, this is just a training ground. Anything that that we look at here is something that we want to take you up there. So when you see the word in the quote, a mistake, I want you guys to think of anything of it as a mistake, as a challenge, as a hardship or something, to look at those as our learning opportunities, as Casper said. So I'll finish with this. This rectangular mat is always our training ground where we get to train practicing something, looking at ourselves and challenging ourselves, not being good at things, you know, enjoying the things we're good at, not being good at things, but also where we get to be really clear about why, you know, why I'm here is a good thing. And if you figure that out here, what I'm hoping is that these teachings that we did today, every day we do here, is that you take them outside of the doors here and that you apply them to your life. Everything I said today about Ashtanga is something that you can put into practice in every single part of your life. And that is what we're really up to today. Namaste.